and welcome to AHS Countdown. I'm your host, Max Mesman, and I'm joined by co-hosts Cal Floyd, Fabiola Sanchez, and Taylor Gottney. And today we got a crucial matchup between the Prattville Lions and your Auburn Tigers. Now, both of these teams have a really solid chance, as it stands right now, at becoming number one in the region still come playoff time, but that chance goes away for either team if they lose here tonight. Now, let's start off with the Lions. They are currently sitting at 6-2 and are currently number 8 in the state and 3rd in the region, right behind Auburn, with a record of 4-2 in Region 2 play. Their two losses come against Smith Station on the road by a score of 30-21 and against Dothan High the following week at home by a close score of 14-10. But since those two straight losses early in the season, they have gone on a 5-game winning streak that has included crucial wins against Enterprise and Opelika that have put them in the position that they are in today. With a win today and a win at Central next week, Prattville would be first in the region come playoff time after it seemed unfathomable after their poor start to the season. All of that being said, what are some things that the Prattville Lions can do that Auburn Tigers should look out for tonight?
Now, like you said, Prattville is a team that should not be taken lightly. Their early season aside, that win streak is impressive. What's also impressive is that Prattville's 9 interceptions and a fumble recovery they got this season. That's going to be a fun comparison against Auburn's own forced turnovers in the history of that, and I think it's going to make this game really interesting.
I think for their offense, they are able to run the ball. They have a great running back, a good wide receiver too. That's something we should really watch out for.
Like Max said, after the two early losses, they've just been on a roll recently, beating good teams like Opelika, Enterprise, and Jeff Davis, I guess. But yeah, they're just on a roll recently. I think they're going to have a lot of momentum going into this home game against Auburn.
Yeah, and looking to bounce back from last week's tough loss, and their first loss of the season is your Auburn Tigers, who even with that loss last week, still have a shot at finishing number one in the region come playoff time. In what is a crucial matchup for determining playoff position, how do the Auburn Tigers get it done on the road to keep their shot at number one in the region alive?
Now, Auburn has had a very strong and disciplined defense this season. I think continuing their ability to make sure the ball is moving in the right direction and forcing turnovers is going to be very key for this game.
Auburn was able to go to the red zone a lot on almost every drive against Central. While they turned the ball over, a lot of the times while getting there, they were able to move the ball up and down there.
After the first week against Hoover, 17-14, their 3 lowest scoring games have been super close. And after last week's loss against Central, that was their lowest scoring game since the first game. And so I think Auburn needs to find a way to bounce back from that tough loss and just try to look at the task ahead.
Yeah, and while Auburn had already clinched playoffs before playing Central, Prattville still has not clinched playoffs, and while a win today could mean clinching in the playoffs for Region 2, a loss makes Prattville's chances at making the playoffs very, very slim. As it stands right now, Auburn can finish anywhere from 1 to 3 in the region, while Prattville could finish anywhere from 1 to 5, and finishing 5th would obviously mean that there's no playoffs for the Lions. That being said, if the season were to end today, Auburn would be hosting Mary Montgomery from Region 1, with once again a very good chance of hosting rival Opelika in Round 2. On the other side, Prattville would be traveling to face Fairhope, and even if they won that game, they would most likely have to go on the road to face Central in Round 2. So we have talked about some things Auburn has done well this season. Now, what are some things the Tigers need to improve on in order to walk out of Prattville with a victory?
Right. With Central, I would say a big issue was being able to make those big passing plays across the entire field, which gave them a really big lead very, very quickly. So limiting those big plays is going to be really important with Prattville, I think.
Something they had at the game with Central was that they had 3 turnovers against Central, 1 interception, 2 fumbles, which they all came in the red zones and prevented Auburn from scoring crucial moments.
Over the last 3 games, Auburn has actually turned the ball over 3 times, 3 against Ramsey, 3 Opelika, 3 Central. And if Auburn does not turn that around, I think it will be really hard to win this game with the home crowd backing up the Lions. And I just, like Cal said, the passing plays, just the huge yards and all the touchdowns that we've given up. We need to definitely improve on that.
Yeah, and with that, we move into our keys to the game. Now, this Auburn team has different X factors that can help them take over a game. What do y'all think those X factors are, or better yet, will be in this game?
I would say Auburn's downfield coverage, it's been very hit or miss, kind of on or off this season. But when it's on, I think Auburn is going to be unstoppable this game.
With Auburn's offense line, the ability to just buy time for Clyde Pittman and Davis Harsin has allowed Auburn to have reliable wide receivers to get open and just make big plays. I think that's really good.
Auburn has been really good about controlling the flow of the game and coming out like red hot every single game, except for Central, of course. But our superior run game with Davion is just unmatched in our region, and our run defense is just amazing this year. So I think Prattville will have a really hard time with that.
And now we move into our player profiles, where we will each highlight one player on Auburn on offense, on defense, and on special teams. That will be crucial to tonight's game. Who do y'all have as y'all's player profiles for today's matchup against Prattville?
Right. For me, I'm taking number 99, Jordan Reese. He's a senior on defensive tackle. His ability to keep putting pressure on the opposing quarterback all season is something you should be looking for this game.
I have number 81, Griffin McLean. He's a junior tight end. He has been a mismatch all season, especially in the red zone, which has allowed him to have multiple 2-touchdown games.
I have our long snapper, number 71, Jared Buckner. He's a junior, and he's just been really consistent with giving good snaps to the field goal holder and the punter as well. And it's been really good to flip the field and make a bunch of field goals. And eliminating mistakes on special teams is a big plus for a football team, so I think Jared has done a really good job.
And with that, we move into our last segment, which is the Friday night lineup, where we will all pick who we think is going to win tonight's biggest games across the state. Current standings stand as Fab. She is 19-3, went 9-1 last week. I am behind her in second place. I'm currently 16-6, and I actually had the worst record last week. I was 6-4. And then tied for third once again, y'all guessed it, Cal and Taylor. Both are 13-9. And also, we're both 7-3 last week, which is crazy because they actually didn't pick the same games. Surprisingly, Chelsea didn't beat Hoover. So, so that happened. And now we move into the first matchup, which is really, we talked about different toilet bowls all season. This really takes the cake. It is number 9 in the Region 2, Lee Montgomery, who's currently 0-8 on the season and 0-6 in Region 2 play. They still haven't gotten a win all season, and they are currently eliminated from the playoffs. But they are going away to number 8 in the region, Smith Station, who's currently 1-7 on the season and 1-5 in Region 2 play. Also eliminated from the playoffs. Who do y'all got winning this matchup between Lee Montgomery and Smith Station?
It really is up in the air at the end of the day, but I got to go with Smith Station. Mr. Dillard last week was able to give a very, very motivational speech about how good and Smith Station is and stuff like that. But honestly, I think they should just walk out on the field, flip the coin, and that should be the game.
Really, I'm going to go with Lee Montgomery. Yeah.
Both of these teams are having a really rough year this year, but I think the crowd at Smith Station will help them win this game. So it's Smith Station.
Yeah, I'm going to go to a Smith Station as well. Like you said, Dillard gave that motivational speech. Still didn't help them win against Jeff Davis. But I'm going to stick with Smith Station this week for this one. I think they go in and beat Lee Montgomery. And I think Lee Montgomery, as sad as it is, I don't think they're going to finish with a win this season. And now we move into our next matchup, which is between Daphne, who is currently 3-5 and 3-2 in Region 1 play, currently 4th in Region 1. And they go away to Foley, who is currently 5-3 and 4-1 in Region 1 play, have actually clinched a playoff spot, and they are also the first in Region 1 play as it stands right now. Who do you got winning between Daphne and Foley?
Even though their records are similar, at least in region, I would have to say Foley, because I'm a firm believer in home field advantage.
I'm going to give it a Foley too. They are having a home game, so.
I think Daphne is now 4th in Region 1, and I think since Foley has already clinched a playoff spot, they're kind of going to go into this game kind of thinking Daphne's like kind of a lesser opponent, but I think Daphne will go into Foley and upset.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Taylor. I'm going to have to say Foley is going to win this one. I can understand where you're coming from, them going in there. Daphne does also have a lot to play for, as they still have a chance at making the playoffs, yet they haven't clinched a spot yet. And with a win there, I think they actually would clinch a spot over Baker, unless Baker is able to upset Fairhope on the road, but we'll talk more about that later. All that to say, I'm going to go with Foley to win this one at home. I do think it'll be close, like Taylor said, but I think Foley will end up being able to pull it out at home. And now we move into our next matchup, which is between currently number 10 in the state, Florence, who is currently 7-2 and 5-1 in their region, and they have currently clinched a playoff spot, and they're going away to Sparkman, who's currently 5-3 and 3-3 in the region, and currently 5th in Region 4 play. Who do y'all got winning between Florence and Sparkman?
I do think Sparkman shouldn't be taken lightly by Florence, but that being said, I think Florence has this.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Florence as well.
I think Sparkman's going to come out with a lot of fight for the playoff spot, and I think they're actually going to win this game.
I'm going to go with Florence. I'm going to have to disagree with you once again, Taylor. I think Florence, Sparkman's definitely a team that shouldn't be slept on. And once again, like Daphne, they have a lot to play for. They have neither eliminated from the playoffs or clinched a playoff spot yet. So all that to say, I'm going to go with Florence, like I said earlier. And yeah, I think they're going to go on the road and beat Sparkman. And now we move into our fourth matchup, which is a Region 2 matchup between Jeff Davis, who's currently 3-5 and 2-4 in Region 2 play, and also 7th in the region. And they're going away to number 9 in the state, Enterprise, who's currently 5-3 and 3-3 in Region 2 play, and currently stand at 5th in Region 2 standings. Who do y'all got winning between Jeff Davis and Enterprise?
Like earlier, those in-region records are very similar, but I would say the combination of them being ranked in the state and home field advantage, it's got to be Enterprise.
I mean, they're 3-3. I'm going to go with Enterprise as well.
I think Enterprise actually kept it really close with Auburn, and their 3 losses are against 3 of the best teams in the state, Auburn, Central, and Prattville. So I think Enterprise will bounce back this week and win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to actually agree with you this time, Taylor. It's kind of rare, but I'm going to go with Enterprise to win this game. Unlike the first 3 matchups we picked from, this game doesn't include a team that is either clinched in the playoffs or eliminated from the playoffs. So both these teams still have a lot to play for, and I think Enterprise is by far the better team from Jeff Davis. I think Jeff Davis shows a lot of positive signs for their program, the way they whooped Smith Station last week, but I do think Enterprise wins at home, and I don't think it's close. And now we move into our 5th matchup, which is another Region 4 matchup, and it is between Huntsville, who's currently 4-4 and 3-3 in Region 4 play, and they also currently stand at 6th in that region. And they go away to currently number 7th in the state, Austin, who's currently 7-2 and undefeated 6-0 in that region. And they're also the only team in the state currently for 7A that has not only clinched the playoffs, but they have clinched a number 1 spot in their region. Who do y'all got between Huntsville and Austin?
Like I said, all the reasons combining, plus that record really is just overwhelming. Austin, and I do not think it's going to be close.
I mean, yeah, they're undefeated. Austin.
I think I got to go Austin here. Huntsville just doesn't have enough to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Austin. This one I actually do think I'm going to have to disagree with Cal. I think this one actually will somehow be really close, mainly because Austin, even if they lose their next 2 games, they are going to be number 1 in their region no matter what. So really, they could just, play all their second stringers and hope that they don't get any injuries. But I still do think Austin is a powerhouse in that region, and I think they'll show it against Huntsville, and they will win that game. Next, we move into a Region 1 matchup between Baker, who's currently 3-5 and 3-2 in that region, and they're currently 5th in the region. And they go away to currently number 5 in the state, Fairhope, who's currently 7-1 and 4-1 in that region, and has also clinched the playoffs. Hasn't clinched the number 1 spot, but they have clinched the playoffs, and they're currently number 2 in that region. Who do y'all have between Baker and Fairhope?
For in-region records, you could make an argument, but once you take into account out-of-region, it's, I think, very clear that Fairhope is going to run away with this one.
I think Fairhope will, but I'm going to go with Baker. I don't know. I'm going to go with Baker.
I'm going to have to disagree with her. I think this will be way closer than a lot of people think, but I think Fairhope's just the better team, and the Baker will go down. I'm
going to have to agree with you once again, Taylor. I'm going to say that Fairhope's going to win at home. I do think this is another game that it's going to be a sneaky close game. As we saw earlier in the season, a game that we picked Fairhope unanimously to win, they ended up losing, getting upset actually for their first loss of the season against Foley. And so I think it's going to be another game like that. It's going to come down to the wire. Baker, once again, has a lot to play for. But all that being said, I'm going to go with Fairhope. And now we move into a very high-stakes game between Tuscaloosa County, who is currently 5-3 and 3-3 in Region 3 play, and they're also 4th in that region. And they go away against Vestavia Hills, who's currently 4-4 and 3-3 in Region 3 play, and is currently 5th in the region standings. Who do y'all got between Tuscaloosa County and Vestavia Hills?
What I'm guessing is going to be a very, very intense game. I mean, ranked back-to-back, very, very similar records, almost identical, I would say. But it'll definitely be a fight, but I think Vestavia's got this.
I'm going to go with Vestavia as well.
I think Vestavia has come off of 2 tough losses. I mean, Thompson and Hoover, 2 of the best teams in the state.
Yeah.
And I think, like Cal said, this will be really close just because they're really closely matched. But I think Tuscaloosa County's got it. I mean, they kept it really close with Hoover and Thompson, so I think Tuscaloosa County goes into Vestavia Hills and wins.
Tuscaloosa County did not keep it close with Thompson. They actually lost 42-7. But
I was looking at that.
but I'm still going to go with Tuscaloosa
I'm
County.
going to change my pick. Vestavia Hills.
Oh, okay.
Kept it close with Thompson and Hoover.
There you go. So I'm going to go with actually Tuscaloosa County. Even though they did not keep it close with Thompson at all last week, I think that they're going to come in and beat Vestavia Hills. I don't know. I just have a feeling about it. I feel like they're pumped up after really getting what a game where in that game against Thompson, that would have been a region shifter if they won that game. But they ended up getting destroyed, and I think they're going to bounce back and beat Vestavia Hills on the road. And now we move into a Region 2 matchup, a big one, between Opelika, who's currently 5-4 and 4-3 in Region 2 play, and they go away against Dothan High, who's currently 5-3 and 3-3 in Region 2 play. Who do y'all got between Opelika and Dothan?
So Auburn has been able to see what both of these teams are capable of, and all rivalries aside, I got to go with Opelika for this one.
Same here. I think they'll be able to come through.
I don't see Opelika winning this game. I mean, they got on that hot start being Central, and they've lost 4 of their last 5. Their only win is Smith Station, and it's Smith Station. So I think Dothan wins this game.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I think Dothan's going to win this game at home. As we saw earlier in the season, Dothan was able to really, stay neck and neck with Central at home. They ended up losing that game only by 7. So I think Dothan's got this. I actually don't think it'll be that close. I think it'll be like that Auburn-Opelika game, similar to that. I think Opelika will stick with it, stay in the game for probably the first 3 quarters, and I think Dothan will run away with it in the 4th. And now we move into what's probably one of the biggest games, not only in the state, but also in the nation. It is number 2 in the state, Hoover, who is going on the road, or number 2 in the state, Hoover is currently 8-1 and 6-0 in the region and has clinched a playoff spot and are currently standing at they're currently 1st in that region. They're going away against the number 1 in the state, Thompson Warriors, who are currently 7-2 and 6-0 in the region and have also clinched a playoff spot and are currently tied with Hoover at 1st in that region. Who do you got between Hoover and Thompson?
So this obviously isn't going to be a runaway game. I mean, you have like the 2 titans when it comes to Alabama football right now going at it. And maybe I'm a little biased this way, but Thompson is my mom's alma mater. So I think I got to go with Thompson for this one.
This one's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to go with Hoover, though. Yeah.
I think both of these teams are amazing. Just 2 of the best powerhouses in the state. Hoover, 1 loss is Auburn, first game. But they've won 8 in a row. They're just on a roll. Same with Thompson, their first 2 games they lost. I think this is really a coin flip, but I'm going to go Thompson at home.
I'm going to have to go with Hoover. Like you said, though, this is a big coin flip. But like I said last week, I think that it might have changed a little bit after the Central loss last week for Auburn, but I do think Hoover is still going to make it to the state championship. And, yeah, I think they'll beat Thompson on the road. It's going to be a very, very packed house in Thompson, and I think that Hoover's going to somehow pull it out. Like Taylor said, their only loss is to Auburn, which was a 3-point game, and it was the first game of the season. And, yeah, I'm just going to go with Hoover. I think Hoover's going to beat Thompson. And now we move into your game of the night. It is a Region 2 matchup between your Auburn Tigers, who are currently number 4 in the state, 7-1 and 5-1 in Region 2 play, and have clinched the playoffs. Currently sit at 2nd in Region 2 standings, and they go away against number 8 in the state, Prattville Lions, who are currently 6-2, 4-2 in Region 2 play, and are currently seated right behind the Auburn Tigers at 3rd in the region. Who do y'all got between the Tigers the Lions.
And I'm sure Prattville is a very competent team, and I do think it'll be a well-fought game. But something they say about Auburn fans, mostly in the college football context, is we're stupidly loyal. So that being said, in combination with the stats, I think Auburn's got this.
Yeah, I mean, we lost last week, and I think that's just more motivation. So I think Auburn's going to do real good this game.
I think Auburn was a little shocked last week about how the game went. I mean, like we said earlier, got into the red zone and just couldn't capitalize. But I think this week Auburn will do that again, get into the red zone, but I think they will be able to capitalize. But I think Prattville's going to sell this one out, and it's going to be rowdy in there. But I think Auburn comes out with a win.
Yeah.
And
Last
gets close to that
year,
one seed.
what'd you say?
Gets close to that 1 seed.
Yes, it will. I think the last year, if you saw the Auburn play Prattville, it was on the road once again last year, and they only won by 6. Very close game on the road against Prattville last year. Wasn't as big a stakes as this game because last year it was early in the season. But difference is there's big stakes for this game. Prattville's at home, like you said, probably going to sell out the stadium. All of that being said, I think the Tigers come out with a win, not only because of the loyalty, like my friend Cal said over here. I am very loyal to my team, to our high school's team, but I do think that Auburn showed against Central that they can move the ball really well against anybody in the state. Like, they got into the red zone almost every drive and then turned it over, like we talked about earlier, with the 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers in each of the last 3 games. Now, that will lose you basically any game, especially this one where it's high stakes and it's on the road against, like you said, a competent Prattville team. But I don't think that'll happen. I think Coach Etheridge has gotten the boys together, and I think he has coached them up and prepared them to not turn the ball over and win this game against Prattville and get closer, like Taylor said, to that number 1 spot in Region 2. And that'll do it for AHS Countdown today. We hope you all enjoyed this AHS Mass Media presentation. With that being said, from all of us on AHS Countdown, we hope you enjoy your Friday night of high school football. And we hope to see you back here next Friday on senior night when Auburn takes on Smith Station to end the regular season.